But despite all these systems and powers that be that y'all will say Black people cannot prevail because of, I've been able to in some ways. I've actually noticed that a lot of the pain, the misery, the suffering that I've experienced has been at the hands of other Black people. It was other Black people who put me down, who said terrible things to me, who did aggressive or harmful things to me.
And the lights get out, slow motion, I freeze, you watch me, sample me, reduce me to soundbite, hit me, no don't you, just nod your head, don't try to change it, I said what I said, hit you with a playback, I said what I said, look what I did.
I remember at the beginning of some of my videos, I don't even know if they're still on here, bro, but I remember at the beginning of some of my videos, I would be like I would do something so random and so weird just to like get my nerves out of the way. And it's not so much that I'm nervous about sitting in front of the camera, because I've been in front of the camera doing different things and like performing and doing stuff like that since I was a kid. It's just, I guess, like knowing that what I'm about to say is going to reach any and everybody who decides to click on mi canal. And that's kind of like not nerve-wracking, but I don't know, sometimes you just never know what's going to happen once you release what you've got to say. But on that note, I would like to say, que lo que mi gente, welcome to my universe, welcome back to my universe. Ooh, so if you cannot tell by the title, if you cannot tell by the title, I have a statement, and my statement is very clear. I don't want to make this super long because I have actually spoke on snitch culture and gang violence, gun violence, etc., etc., in a video that I did not too long ago. I may link it, or you just can go find it yourself if you'd like to. The video is about, or something like, I was held at gunpoint with my 4-year-old brother. That video. In that video, I talk about my feelings, my sentiments on gun violence, gang violence, and snitch culture, if you will, like just a little bit. But I wanted to expand on that in this one. So I think the title is something like snitch culture is harmful. I think snitch culture is harmful to Black people, specifically Black American people, because yes, there are Black people everywhere, but I don't live everywhere, okay? And I also don't know that I cannot say like where my parents come from. My parents come from the island of Hispaniola. What's good, ya tu sabe. My parents come from there, and I cannot say that they have the same kind of snitch culture there. I think that there is an understanding in different regions of what you do and what you don't do, and it is clear to me, like, you know, as a brown-skinned girl growing up in this country, in los Estados Unidos, that amongst other brown-skinned folks, there is an understanding, or there was an understanding when I was a younger kid, that snitches get stitches, that snitches are bitches, and you don't challenge that. You don't say nothing. You don't challenge that. You just accept it. Okay? And I actually am going to share a little story about these girls that wanted to play with me and my emotions, but I'll get to that in a second. First, I just wanted to go over some things. And you know, I want to say I'm so proud of myself because I talk so damn much, bro. And I'm already 2-3 minutes up into this video, and I'm doing well. Thank you, Lord. Thank you, Lord. So the first thing I want to touch on is the fact that snitch culture, or the opinion, I guess, that I have, which is that snitch culture is harmful because you cannot challenge, or no, you cannot change what you don't challenge. So the idea of snitch culture, for those of you who are uninformed or like not a part of the culture or whatever, to succinctly put it, if you grow up in a, say you grow up in a city or on the outskirts of the city, and people on this side of the city have bad blood and they do something to people on this side of the city, if you're friends with somebody who like got shot and you know what happened, you don't go running to the authorities. You don't say nothing. You don't go on social media. You don't do nothing. You just say stitches get stitches, and that's that. I'm not saying that that is the attitude that I've had. That is the understanding that is something that I understood to be the reality for some of the black kids that I grew up around. And I didn't understand it. And I don't know if it's because I have Caribbean parents. I don't know if it's also just the way that I think. But at the time, I just didn't understand how other people had that much power over, like, let's say my friend lost her friend who was shot, or her boyfriend who was shot by some dudes, and maybe it was about something that happened at the corner store. Maybe it was about, the dude looking at some girl some type of way, somebody on the block didn't like that, whatever. Imagine just something stupid like that, and now the person has been killed, and now a black life has been lost. The girl, my friend, would feel fear for her life, that they would come at her and retaliate against her because she exposed this criminality, this violence. That's what snitch culture is. The understanding that you don't say nothing. And I'm going to need black American people to stop. I'm going to need black American people to do better, okay? And I'm going to need you to do better as a collective, because you cannot change what you do not challenge. Let me say that one more time for the people in the back. You cannot change what you do not challenge. So if you never say anything about the injustices that you witness and the injustices that you inflict on one another, how can you do anything about it? How can you change it? Who is supposed to change it? This is my thing with black American people, and it's not all black American people. Let me preface with that, because everybody's so sensitive and everybody's looking for a reason to jump down somebody else's throat. Let me just say that it's not all, but too goddamn many. I will say that is way too many black people in this country who, again, have an understanding, just have this mindset that violence amongst the community is okay. It is imperative to some folks. Like, oh, it's just what we do. Like, we need gangs. We need this. We need people on the block. Da 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 da. And it's like, nah. Y'all are just protecting your interests. It's not ever been about protecting the community. People will say these spiels about how, oh, black people needed to form these groups to protect their own and da 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 da. And they said that about the Black Panthers, right? But even if you look at some of the Black Panthers, a lot of the leaders, the black men in particular, look at the women who were by their side. It was a bunch of ambiguous, a bunch of biracial, a bunch of, like, questionably black people, black women that they were standing behind or standing beside. It was very clear, or it's very clear to me, and I'm sure it was clear to some black people at the time, that although they talked and argued for the rights of black people, it's clear that even the men had an idea of who was more superior and more deserving, because it wasn't dark-skinned black women who were standing next to those Black Panthers. The majority of them had biracial women and very, very, very fair-skinned white women standing there. And the only way you would know that, or not white women, black women, excuse me, but the only way that you would know that is because they had like 4C hair or something like that, look a little afro picked out. So, that whole like, oh, these groups were formed to protect black folks, I don't buy all that, because black kids stay getting shot in the head, in the neck, in the leg, in the chest on the way to school. And who is doing this? It's not always a white person. It's not always a police officer. It's some of y'all doing this to your own people, And I'm so freaking tired, bro. If you can't tell, because I do have a lot of energy right now. I'm so tired of hearing these, Lord, let me calm down because I'm getting hot. I'm just so tired of hearing so many people be outraged about what non-black people do to black people. But where is your outrage when it's black folks doing this to black folks? Because I know too many damn black kids that I done grown up with who can tell you these stories about somebody who got shot in their neighborhood. I am one of those kids who moved from neighborhood after neighborhood after neighborhood. And the one thing that stayed the same is, amongst all these colorful folks, gunshots went off like fireworks. I literally lived right next to a park where this little kid was shot and killed. What does that little 5, 6, 7-year-old boy have to do with any of the temper tantrums that y'all grown men are throwing? Please tell me, dime por favor. What does that have to do with anything? Why are these kids, you know, someone said something to me recently about how women and children are disposable. There was a time where women and children were off limits. The fact that that ever had to be said is ridiculous, but the fact that that has changed is even more ridiculous. Now they don't care who gets shot. They don't care whose life is taken, because it's about their interests. And I think that this snitch culture is about their interests. Snitch culture is about protecting people who don't have any interest in protecting you. And I'm going to need you to stop. That whole situation with Megan Thee Stallion is really pitiful. It's really, really unfortunate. And it's not a surprise to me at all that for weeks this girl did not say anything except slightly hint at the fact that it was an N-word. That's what she said, that there was nothing funny about being shot by an N-word. That's the one thing that she said that let everybody know it was most definitely the dude. Most definitely. But it's a shame that she would even feel in her heart of hearts like, I have to protect this person. And there are layers to that. I don't want to dive into all of that. But I will say that, like, for her to be a grown woman, for her to be somewhat powerful, I guess, because she is visible in the eyes of millions, for her to be of that status and still feel like, oh, I can't say anything, oh, I gotta keep it to myself, I have to protect, that mentality needs to die. Leave it in 2020 along with all this other BS that's happening. It needs to die. Because too many times we are conditioned to protect our abusers. Take it from someone who has protected her abusers, okay? Protected her abusers, bro. Like, take it from me. Stop. Stop. Stop, okay? Because you just might lose your freaking life protecting these dudes, protecting these people. And no, it's not always men, but far too often it is. Far too often it is. And then when you wonder where all these black kids' fathers are, and you look on the corner of the block, or you look at the paper, and you see their mugshot, there he is. It needs to stop. It needs to stop. And then the sensitivity, whenever there's a white person or a non-black person or a biracial person who says something about it, who points out the hypocrisy, the sensitivity needs to stop. Leave that in 2020 as well. Because I'm going to need people to stop acting like they don't know what's going on. People need to stop acting like this snitch culture isn't another way to silence folks. That's all it is. It's just another way to suppress what you're suffering from inside. And anybody who tells you that your suffering is necessary or treats you like, oh, you just got to go through it, bro. It's just life, bro. It's just what black people go through. No, no, no. Because there are some black people in this country who would tell you, I've never seen a gun before. I've never heard a gunshot before. There are some, fortunately, there are some black people up in this country who would tell you, nah, that's never been my experience. But there are also way too many kids who would tell you that they have. I think that's why Chance the Rapper is so beloved. Aside from his actual talent, this is someone who found a way to sort of beautifully portray all the darkness that comes out of Chicago. I mean, one of his most like popular and like recognized songs is Summer Friends. And what does he say in Summer Friends? He talks literally about kids getting shot on the way to school. And it's normal. This shit is normal. And this snitch culture stuff, this is part of the reason why people have this idea that they have an actual fear that if they say something about it, whether it be to the authorities or whether it be to somebody else, that now they're going to cause more problems. And I can tell you that's a very scary place to be in. I used to be, when I came from foster care and I was put in my biological family's home, I told them from day one I don't want to be there, and I asked them to put me back in the system. I asked them to take me back. They refused, of course. So I lived with my biological family for 8 years, and in that time, I know I say that a lot, it might be theirs, but yeah, in that time, I suppressed all my suffering. And the only reason I did that, I swear, the only reason I did that is because I did not want my 3 younger siblings who were born after we were all taken away to go through what I experienced in my foster home. I silenced myself. I stayed in that house. I endured everything. thinking that I was doing something right because I was protecting my younger siblings from being taken by DCFS or taken by such and such. And I have realized you cannot protect somebody and harm yourself in the process. Okay? What good is that going to do? You're going to do all this stuff, protecting this person, protecting this person, protecting this person, and then guess what? By the time this person has finally made it out of the situation that was so harmful to them or detrimental to them, you're going to be dead. You're going to be dead, or you're going to be down in the dumps in a terrible situation because you spent all this time harming yourself to protect them. Harming yourself when there is no reciprocity. No. Leaving it in 2020, bro. Leaving it in 2020. Leaving it in 2020. Silence is the enemy of liberation, okay? The enemy of liberation. You cannot be free and be silent. All of these religions, all of these communities, these ethnicities, these cultures, they have their codes. I understand that. I guess I can respect it, except for when you tell me that a book says, a book that was translated by some people that, you know, may have had their own interests, says that we can't do this, thou shalt not do this, da 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 da. It's like, yeah, okay, but this is acceptable. For instance, in the Jewish religion, I just learned this recently. This is amazing, okay? This is amazing. But I just learned that you can be divorced in the law, okay? In the land of Los Estados Unidos, you can be divorced. However, you have to go through a get in order to be divorced in your religion. So, and that requires both people coming together. So, if you are a woman and you get divorced by your husband because he was beating you, cheating on you, degrading you, or you just not feeling it anymore, y'all can get divorced. But if y'all don't go through the Jewish religions, the Beth something, I forget, my bad, excuse me. But if you don't go through like the house of law in the Jewish religion, you're not actually divorced. So you as a woman will sit there and feel limited. And I'm just thinking to myself, like, what? Oh, then I wouldn't be Jewish no more. Period. In the story. I know this don't got nothing to do with the title, but I wouldn't be Jewish no more. I done got saved and delivered. I would have had to rebuke it because there's no way you're going to tell me that it's written in a book. It's written somewhere that I cannot have my liberty because it's in somebody else's hand. That those same books are the same books that they used to enslave your people. Those same texts, that same white Jesus that you praise, all that stuff is the same exact stuff that was used to keep your ancestors enslaved. I reject it all. I rebuke it all. Okay? I will believe there is a divine entity forever. I will believe that there is a God, but I will not see a God and believe a God through the eyes of any repressive or oppressive religion or textbook or text period that tells me that I can't have my liberty all because of what? Because somebody needs to sign a paper? Nah. Screw it. And it's the same thing with snitch culture. I can't have my liberty because there's an unspoken code, or maybe it's written down in graffiti somewhere that I can't have my life. I can't have my peace. I can't have my justice. Bro, bye. Okay? Because I know that the divine entity did not put me here to suffer. Okay? Once you understand you're not put here to suffer, you start to look at things differently because you realize that your suffering is happening due to the hands of the people around you. It's not because there is this spiritual being that's trying to wreak havoc on your life. It's because there are people that are playing with you, playing with your emotions. They have demons, and their demons are lonely. And this snitch culture stuff is the very reason that you will read the same statistics about certain cities across America and wonder what's going on. It's not solely snitch culture, but the fact that so many people have normalized this kind of violence, normalized the dangerous activities that Black people do to one another, that needs to stop. This cannot be normalized. And then y'all want to jump up and down on Twitter and scream at white people. Scream at white people. White people this, white people that, white supremacy, white. But where is the accountability for what you do? Where is the accountability for what havoc you wreak in this world? When do you start to hold yourself accountable? Is it when white people get their stuff together, or what? What we gonna do? That's what I'm curious about. What we gonna do? Because where I come from in spirit is that you don't wait for nobody to get anything done. You do it yourself. If you want it done, you do it yourself. So if you want to change, if you want to see any change, you have to be it. It sounds cliche, but it's so true. It's verdad. You have to be it. Because this world that we're living in is not changed by your opinions. It's not changed by your tweets. I don't care how many mentions, reactions, reposts, whatever. It's not changed by the stuff that y'all say on social media. Everybody has an opinion. Everybody is a social justice warrior. The world don't care about your opinions. The world changes due to the actions that you take. That's what we are waiting for. That's what we need to see happen. We need to stop the victimhood. We have to stop, oh, this person didn't have this. We have to understand. We've been understanding for too damn long. Now it's time to actually recuperate. Now it's time to actually start to establish. And that comes from your action. Enough said, no more talking, okay? It's time for the snitch culture to die. If you want to see people, black people in particular, brown-skinned folks congregating in a community as a collective and peacefully, as opposed to black people's mission being to get out of the hood. Why have you noticed that in so many rap songs, that's what these guys talk about, getting out of the hood. That's these folks' dream, to get out of the hood, because it's that toxic. And there's too much of an understanding all across cities in this country that snitches get stitches. So if you see something and you know it's harmful, you know it's detrimental, you know it's wrong, you're just supposed to overlook it. And that's what people do. They overlook it, and they overlook it until it's their kid that they see on the wood chips in the park dead with 2 bullets in his chest for no reason at all. No reason at all. I'm tired of it. I'm tired. I know you got to be careful what you say after I am, because anything you say after I am is true to the subconscious mind, but I swear I am tired. I'm tired of people complaining. There's always a complaint when it comes to something that's affecting black people. But notice there's not ever the same amount of outrage, that there's not ever the same kind of volume or tone or power in people's voices when they're talking about what black people have to do. You cannot wait for somebody to fix your life. You cannot wait for somebody to take you out of your misery. More often than not, people will let you believe, or they will try to convince you, that manufactured suffering is necessary or normal. It is neither. Manufactured suffering, meaning the suffering that is created by man, manufactured, human, man. Okay? Think about it. Recognize when the suffering that you're experiencing is caused by yourself and when it's caused by other people around you. If it's caused by other people around you, do not stay in those environments. Do what you can to get out of those environments without harming yourself and harming other people in the process, like your children. Do not have children in these environments. Get out of the environment first. Get yourself free. Free your mind. Liberate yourself. Take yourself out of these predicaments, okay? Because you're going to be, more often than not, you're going to find yourself surrounded by people who want you to stay where they're at. Notice, people love when you evolve, except for when you leave them behind. People love when you grow, when you change, when you start getting something, when you can take care of yourself, when you're doing well, except for when you don't bring them with you. And it's because they don't understand the principle in life that you can't take nobody with you. You can only let them know where the door is. You can't push them through it. You can't change their mind. You can't take them with you. You just got to let them know, bro, this is what you can do. This is what I did. This might help you. The door is right there. The key is under the mat. If they don't understand that, you got to leave them behind. You got to leave them behind. And all that snitch culture stuff, it's a wrap with a bow on top. Move around, girl, color you hot truck. Okay, next. Okay, period, point, blank, toe in, toe out. Next. Because that silencing of black people when they're talking about suffering that is caused by other black people, that is the part of the conversation I've been waiting for, okay? Because a lot of my suffering, it hasn't been white folks. okay? Despite all the systems and stuff that people want to say, oh, white this and that. And I'm not saying it's a facade, because maybe if I was like 15 shades lighter, I would be doing even better for myself. But I'm not trying to say it's a facade. But despite all these systems and powers that be that y'all will say black people cannot prevail because of, I've been able to in some ways. I've actually noticed that a lot of the pain, the misery, the suffering that I've experienced has been at the hands of other black people. It was other black people who put me down, who said terrible things to me, who did aggressive or harmful things to me. And I will leave it on this because I know my videos are always super long. I said in the beginning that I would talk about these girls. It's not a long story because I shut the shit down real quick. But I was in 6th grade. I have, for some reason, like every time I went to a new school, there was a group of girls or a girl who didn't like me for whatever reason. Sometimes it was because of the person I was friends with, or so they said, or whatever. In 6th grade, one time, there was a group of girls. This actually happened on 2 different occasions, but one time it was a bunch of Hispanic girls. Other times it was a bunch of black girls. And, excuse me. So these girls, they surrounded me. They came up to me and my friend while we were just chilling, and you know, they said like, oh, so and so wants to talk to you or something like that, or it was just something weird. We started walking around the corner, and then we started to see all these other girls that like I knew didn't vibe with us well. Before I knew it, I was surrounded by a few like brown-skinned girls, and they wanted to fight me. Long story short, they wanted to fight. And I don't do that. I'm not about to fight for sport. I'm not saying, oh, you know, no, we're not doing that. But they wanted to fight. And I remember they started saying stuff to me slowly but surely, like trying to get close and close. And you know, when they start to do that, at one point they're about to be like, pop. So I was scared. I'm not gonna lie, I was definitely scared. And my friend wasn't on anything either. So and again, this has nothing to do with me. They don't like her, whatever. They're upset with themselves. Either way, these girls tried to jump me. And they said that they wanted to fight. And I told them, I was like, oh, y'all want to fight? Y'all want to fight? Let's go fight in the office. Let's go. Let's go. Absolutely, 100%. In the 6th grade, I said, let's go. Let's go to the office. Let's fight in the office. Y'all want to fight? Let's give them a show right in the office. Because this is my thing. If you're going to be bold enough, or sit down. Sit down and don't say nothing to me. That's how I feel. So if you're going to be bold, let's do it. Let's give them a show. I said, everybody, let's go to the office. Let's go. And all of a sudden, it changed from, oh, we want to fight, to, oh, wait, Star, no, Star. These folks were like, oh, no, Star, ho. All of a sudden, folks don't want to fight no more. All of a sudden, folks don't want to give anybody a show. I'm like, oh, so y'all don't want to fight. Because if y'all really, like, when you really want to fight somebody, you really want to fight somebody. You don't care who's around, okay? These people didn't want no smoke. These people didn't want to fight. These people just wanted to put me down and put my friend down because they took us as pushovers or something. And I said, nah. And I remember one of the girls was like, oh, she gonna switch, she gonna snitch. Oh, she's a snitch. She wants to snitch. I said, yes, I is. Because you're not about to put your hands on me when I know I'm getting my behind beat later that night by my parents. You're not about to put your hands on me twice today, okay? I was just like, no. And that's the energy I'm going to need some of y'all to have, okay? No more. We have to stop allowing this kind of stuff and normalizing it. Too many of us have too many stories about people trying to fight us, jump us, and not ever saying nothing about it just because of fear. Let that go. Let it go, okay? Fear will do nothing but stop you in your life. Nothing. Sometimes fear is worth listening to, because it's trying to tell you something. Sometimes fear is not saying no, it's just saying not right now. But you cannot give in to your fear. And if you're going to be afraid, this is my thing, if you're going to be afraid of what people are going to do to you in retaliation, be afraid, be more afraid of what you will become when you allow people to get to you, when you allow people to break your spirit, when you allow people to live vicariously through you. Be more afraid of who you will become when that happens. Don't be afraid of those people. They just got demons, and their demons are lonely. Tell them to go phone a friend, okay? And on that note, I would say, tata mi amores. Take care.
mic back. But what I'm going to say to the ladies that been told that you cannot have, you tell the devil you's a liar.